Hello students, today I have taken up a topic based on financial literacy, which is goods and services tax, which we always commonly tell as GST. And this is the word I will be using time and again in short form for goods and services tax, that is GST. To understand it properly, we should know how it got started. First of all, in the beginning, this tax was simply a sales tax. Sales tax means whenever any customer buys any goods, he has to pay a tax on that good. And that was called as sales tax. So you have to remember that sales tax is the tax paid by the consumer, and after changing this name to various names, still the tax is paid by the consumer. So, when the goods were bought by the consumer, then the tax was paid, and then the government got the tax. So, government noticed that a good gets manufactured sometime, and after a long gap, it is bought by the customer. So there is a delay in receiving that tax. So government changed it from sales tax to value added tax. So then it got the name value added tax, which in short we used to call VAT. The system in which the tax gets collected got changed here. When it came to GST, the system of VAT remained the same. But in VAT, there were different percentage of tax applied by the central government and applied by the state government. To keep it uniformity everywhere in the country, the system got changed to GST, whereby the same percentage tax will be applied in a particular type of goods. And whatever tax gets collected will be shared equally among the state government and the central government, provided the good is bought in a particular state and then again sold in the other state. Not sold in the other state, sold in the same state. Then 50-50% sharing is there, which we call it as intra-state. But if a good is bought in a state but sold in any other state, then the tax collected goes entirely to the central government. And then we call it as interstate. Based on ICSE syllabus, we have to do only based on intra-state, that is the same state. So always the tax will be shared equally among the state government and the central government. But the main thing what comes here is to understand what was the system of this value added tax. The government bought this system so that the collection of tax on a good starts getting collected from the beginning itself. So what happens? A manufacturer manufactures the good, think he sells it to a retailer. Retailer, when buying the good from the manufacturer, will have to pay the tax. So now don't think that the taxpayer is the retailer. Retailer is not the taxpayer. Because when the retailer will sell that good to the shopkeeper, he will take tax from the shopkeeper, and whatever tax he had paid, he will keep it and send the remaining to the government. And this process will keep on continuing until the customer buys it, and customer is not going to sell. So whatever tax the customer has paid is the total tax that will be received by the government. But in between, retailer, shopkeeper, or any other person coming in between is not the taxpayer, simply because the tax which he pays while buying he will get back the tax when he is selling that. So, with the help of an example, I will explain this system, which will make it clear how things will go. So, I have written here as value added tax. The same system will remain in GST also. And because we are doing intrastate, whatever tax will be collected will be shared equally between the state and the central government. So let us see. So as I had told that the system of VAT, I'll be explaining with an example. So I have taken one example. I will be writing here what all things I have written here. Let us go through it. I have taken the tax percent to be 10%. Okay. Selling price means at what price manufacturer will sell, wholesaler will sell, retailer will sell, shopkeeper will sell, and at what price customer will get it. He is not going to sell it. Huh? Tax in each step, what will be the tax collected? कितना tax collect होगा हर एक step में वो यहाँ पर आएगा. And then what tax government will get? कितना tax government को मिलेगा हर एक step में? Wholesaler से, retailer, shopkeeper से, customer से. Okay. So let us take the price of the good to be as 10,000. तो अब 10,000 इसका सेलिंग प्राइस है मैन्युफैक्चरर के लिए. मैन्युफैक्चरर इसको 10,000 में बिक्री करेगा होलसेलर, तो उसमें अगर 10% टैक्स होगा तो 10% ऑफ 10,000 विल कम एज 1,000 रुपीज. सो हु विल गेट दिस टैक्स? 1,000 रुपीज. मैन्युफैक्चरर पहले टैक्स कलेक्ट कर रहा है. प्रोसेस का सबसे पहला स्टेप है, तो पूरा का पूरा टैक्स गवर्नमेंट को जाएगा. इंटायर टैक्स द गवर्नमेंट विल गेट. दिस इज द बेनिफिट द गवर्नमेंट नोटिस्ड इन दिस सिस्टम. कस्टमर हैज नॉट गॉट इट, बट स्टिल द गवर्नमेंट हैज स्टार्टेड टू गेट द टैक्स. अब होलसेलर को 10,000 देना पड़ा और साथ में 1,000 रुपीज टैक्स देना पड़ा, लेकिन उसके लिए कॉस्ट प्राइस 11,000 नहीं करना है. Don't add and make the tax as 11, the price as 11,000. क्योंकि वो जब बिक्री करेगा गुड्स को तो ज्यादा टैक्स कलेक्ट करेगा, अपना टैक्स रख लेगा, बचा हुआ टैक्स गवर्नमेंट को देगा. So wholesaler getting for 10,000, paying a tax of 1,000. So surely wholesaler will make a profit and sell. So think I am giving a profit of 2,000 to the wholesaler. So he will be selling it to the retailer for 12,000. तो अब wholesaler retailer को 12,000 में बिक्री कर रहा है, 2,000 प्रॉफिट लेगा. तो अब टैक्स कौन देगा? रिटेलर देगा. उसको कलेक्ट करेगा होलसेलर. 10% of 12,000 becomes 1,200. तो ये जो 1,200 टैक्स कलेक्ट किया होलसेलर रिटेलर से, अपना 1,000 रुपीज को रख लेगा और बचा हुआ 200 रुपीज वो गवर्नमेंट को भेजेगा. सो इन दिस स्टेप गवर्नमेंट इज गोइंग टू गेट अ टैक्स ऑफ 200. गवर्नमेंट को 200 रुपीज टैक्स. अब ये गुड्स खरीदा है रिटेलर, 12,000 रुपीज दिया और 1,200 को टैक्स भी दिया. उसको भी प्रॉफिट चाहिए, तो 12,000 में खरीदा था तो उसको बिक्री करता है 13,000. सो नाउ टू द शॉपकीपर ही इज सेलिंग फॉर 13,000. So he is going to collect a tax from the shopkeeper at 10% of the tax. So that will become as 1,300. Who will pay this tax? Shopkeeper. Who will collect it? Retailer. अब रिटेलर को जो 1,300 टैक्स मिला वो गवर्नमेंट को नहीं लेगा पूरा. अपने कितना टैक्स दिया था? 1,200. उस 1,200 को रख लेगा और गवर्नमेंट को देगा बचा हुआ 100. So this step, retailer is paying a tax of 100 rupees to the government. This tax can also be given the name as tax liability. Okay, which you will see later on how to find it out with formula and without formula. Okay. Now the shopkeeper get it for 13,000 by paying a tax also of 1,300. Now think the shopkeeper wants to sell it for 13,500 to the customer. So now customer will pay a 10% tax. तो 10% of 13,500 निकालो तो ये आ जाएगा 1350. अब ये शॉपकीपर ये जो टैक्स लिया कस्टमर से उसमें से अपना 1300 जो टैक्स दिया था उसको निकाल लेगा और 50 रुपीज टैक्स वो गवर्नमेंट को भेजेगा. तो शॉपकीपर का टैक्स लायबिलिटी हो गया 50 रुपीज. अब कस्टमर को 13,500 देना पड़ा प्राइस ऑफ द गुड्स की जैसे और प्लस 1,350 रुपीज देना पड़ा टैक्स. सो टोटल मनी पेड बाय हिम इज 50, 5 and 3 8, 13 and 1 is 14. So 14,850 रुपीज कस्टमर को देना और पड़ा उस गुड्स को खरीदने के लिए. अब इसमें अगर सिस्टम को देखेंगे सो वी फाइंड द गवर्नमेंट स्टार्टेड टू गेट टैक्स फर्स्ट 1,000, 200, then 100 and then 50. So majority of the tax he got in the beginning step. So that was the benefit which the government saw in this system and brought this system. और ये सिस्टम लाया गया जब इसको बोला जाता था वैल्यू एडेड टैक्स वैट. अब नाउ इफ आई वांट टू नो द टोटल टैक्स कलेक्टेड बाय द गवर्नमेंट आई नीड टू ऐड ऑल ऑफ देम एंड आई विल गेट इट एज 1,350. सो इन दिस केस बिकॉज इट वाज रेडी फॉर मी in each step government has got how much tax, so I have added it. But every time the situation will not be like this. You can see this one and this one is the same and this was the tax paid by the customer. तो जब भी क्वेश्चन में पूछेगा कि टोटल टैक्स रिसीव बाय द गवर्नमेंट इज हाउ मच, जितना टैक्स कस्टमर देता है उतना ही टोटल टैक्स गवर्नमेंट को मिलता है. Then you don't require to find it step by step and add. In GST, if it is intra-state, this tax will be shared equally by the state government and the central government. So this divided by 2, okay, that is 675 rupees will be the tax state government will get and the central government will get. So this is the system followed. Now take a look at certain things more. If I am taking for the wholesaler and related, okay, I will consider the situation for the wholesaler. When the wholesaler got the good for 10,000, वो टैक्स कितना दिया? 1,000 rupees टैक्स दिया. तो this tax is called as input tax. So input tax paid is 1,000 rupees by whom? By the wholesaler. अब एक गुड्स को होलसेलर बिक्री किया था रिटेलर को 12,000, तो टैक्स कलेक्ट किया रिटेलर से. दैट इज गिवन द नेम एज आउटपुट टैक्स. So output tax is 1,200. He collected 1,200 from the retailer. Now, how much tax he gives to the government in that state is 200, which you will get by subtracting these two, and that is called as the tax liability. And that is the tax liability for the wholesaler. So we get the formula here. Output tax minus input tax, and so that is 1,200 minus 1,000 is equals to rupees 200, and that is what we had written in that earlier part also. तो ये टैक्स लायबिलिटी निकालने का फॉर्मूला हो गया आउटपुट टैक्स माइनस इनपुट टैक्स। अब इसका नाम से कंफ्यूज नहीं होना। इनपुट टैक्स, इसका नाम इनपुट टैक्स इसलिए दिया है क्योंकि होलसेलर जब खरीदा था तो गुड्स उसके पास आया था, दैट इज व्हाई इट इज इनपुट टैक्स। एंड दिस हैज गॉट द नेम एज आउटपुट टैक्स because when the goods were sold, the goods went away from him, so that is why output tax. And so tax collected is always more than the tax paid because he is trying to make a profit, and so subtracting gives you the tax liability. Another way to find this tax liability, and that I find is a more useful method in most of the sums, that is to know the profit. So if I want to know the profit for the wholesaler, he bought it for 10,000 and sold it for 12,000. So he has made a profit of 2,000. Now you find the tax on this profit and you get the tax liability. Why does it happen like this? Because the price is increasing because of the profit being taken. So on that profit, whatever is the tax becomes the tax liability. Okay, so I can write here now tax liability as 10% is the tax, so 10 by 100, and 2000 is the profit, so into 2000. Solve it up, you get it as 200. So the same tax which came here is here, that is the tax liability. So you have got two methods. एक मेथड है जो फॉर्मूला है टैक्स लायबिलिटी इक्वल्स टू आउटपुट टैक्स माइनस इनपुट टैक्स, और दूसरा मेथड है प्रॉफिट निकालो और उस पर टैक्स लगा दो, दैट बिकम्स द टैक्स लायबिलिटी फॉर द पर्सन हु हैज गॉट दैट प्रॉफिट. Okay, but remember it is we are taking wholesaler and finding the tax liability. It doesn't mean that wholesaler is paying the tax. Again and again I am telling, taxpayer is the consumer. Okay, so this way we can calculate the tax. Now we will see what happens when goods are sold at a discount. You have to be clearly understand this because I have seen many of them applies that discount at the wrong place. See, the tax which we are calculating is the sale tax. So it means it will always be calculated on the price at which it is sold. So it means that whenever discount is there, apply that discount on the marked price, get the selling price, and then only on the selling price the tax has to be applied. Many a times what the students do is that they first apply the tax and then go to give the discount, which is a wrong step. Because then the tax is not being applied on the selling price. Okay, so let me take an example here. So I have taken a discount case and if the discount percent is given 10%, okay, discount percent is 10%, the mark price of a good is rupees 5,000 and the tax percentage, okay, is think 20%. Now you have the mark price, so you need to find the selling price with 10% discount. So selling price will be 5,000 minus 10 by 100 into 5,000. So that will give me 5,000 minus this of calculating will be 500. So you get it as 4,500 as the selling price. अब ये selling price पर टैक्स लगेगा. ओके, अब ये टैक्स है 20%. So tax will be 20 by 100 into 4,500. So you will get 45 to the 90 and a 0. So a tax of 900 will come. So now price inclusive of tax will become 4,500 was the selling price plus 900 tax. So if this was bought by the customer, he has to pay 5,400. So this is what needs to be applied whenever discount will be there. I have not framed a complete question. So this 900, who gets the tax, will depend upon the sum. But if I say that this is the tax paid by the consumer, so total tax received by the government in this, for this article, will be 900, and if it is interest paid, will be equally shared by the central and the state government, and so each will get 450 rupees. Now I have taken a sums to make it clear to you how to calculate the tax liability, and the person here involved is the shopkeeper. So the question says a shopkeeper buys an article for rupees 6,000, so this is the cost price for it, and sells it to a consumer at 10% profit. If the rate of GST is 12%, find this tax liability. I am going to work it out by finding the input tax and the output tax. Okay, so he is buying for 6,000, so he will be paying a 12% tax on this good, so that will become the input tax. So I am calculating the input tax. So that will be 12% of 6,000. So the zeros cancel, 12 6 plus 72, and then a 0. So 720 is the tax which the shopkeeper is going to pay when he is going to buy it. अब वो उसको बिक्री करेगा, बिक्री कर रहा है 10% प्रॉफिट में, तो आउटपुट टैक्स निकालने के लिए सेलिंग प्राइस जानना जरूरी है. सो आई विल फाइंड द सेलिंग प्राइस. सो 6,000 प्लस 10% profit, so 10 by 100 into 6,000. So this will give me, this will get cancelled, so 6,000 plus 600 from here. So he is buying it for 6,600. Okay. Now he will collect tax based on that, to which we call it as output tax. तो आउटपुट टैक्स कलेक्ट करेंगे 12% GST, so 12 by 100 into 6,600. So zeros cancel. I will get 12 6 the 72, 7 72, and 7 is 792. So this is the price which he is going to collect, which is the output tax. And I have given you the formula earlier. Tax liability is equal to output tax minus input tax. So that is 792 minus 720. Okay, that gives us as 2. 9 and 2 is subtracted. 72 becomes the tax liability. तो शॉपकीपर 72 रुपीज गवर्नमेंट को टैक्स पे. ये कैलकुलेशन मेथड था आउटपुट टैक्स और इनपुट टैक्स फाइंड करने. द अदर मेथड विच इज देयर विदाउट फाइंडिंग आउटपुट एंड इनपुट सेपरेटली बेस्ड ऑन प्रॉफिट, उस मेथड को भी अभी हम बताएंगे. So the second method I will be showing here. इस मेथड में प्रॉफिट ही इंपॉर्टेंट है, तो हम पहले प्रॉफिट जान लेंगे. तो प्रॉफिट ऑफ द शॉपकीपर, इट इज क्लियरली टोल्ड ही मेक्स अ प्रॉफिट ऑफ 10%. So 10 by 100 into 6,000, okay, which will give him as rupees 600. अब ये 600 का ऊपर जो टैक्स आएगा वही उसका टैक्स लायबिलिटी हो जाएगा. तो तो अब हम लिखेंगे यहाँ पर टैक्स लायबिलिटी equals to tax is 12%, so 12 by 100 into 600, zeros cancel, 12 6 is 72. Same answer, shorter method and easy to do. But that does not mean this should not be known. There will be sums where it will be told that you have to find the input tax and you have to find the output tax, so this has to be known. But when it is not told, always this is an easier and a better method. Hope this type of sums you have understood how to work it out. Now I have taken a sum which will basically explain you the different tax which is mainly asked in the question to find, and students usually get confused where what to do. So the question goes like this: a dealer buys an article for rupees 20,000, sells it to a consumer at a profit of 4,000. So there is a profit for the dealer of 4,000. If the rate of GST is 12%, find SGST paid by the dealer. Now see what is this? SGST paid by the dealer. SGST is the GST received by the state government. S is for state government. And paid by the dealer. So dealer will pay the tax to the government based on his profit, or we can say it will be output tax minus input tax, but I will be going by the profit way. Easy to solve. Then CGST received. See here is central government. Okay, what is the tax central government is getting? Now it is not told from whom, means the total tax which he will get. And remember what I had told, total tax is the tax paid by the customer or the consumer. And then last of all, amount at which the consumer bought it. So consumer will pay the price of the good plus the tax, that is CGST as well as SGST. So follow how I will go to work it out. So first of all, my focus is on the first one, SGST paid by the dealer. मतलब कितना टैक्स डीलर गवर्नमेंट को भेजेगा, टैक्स उतना ही भेजेगा डीलर गवर्नमेंट को जितना उसका प्रॉफिट पे टैक्स आता है. तो प्रॉफिट इज 4,000. अभी 4,000 पर टैक्स है 12%, लेकिन सिर्फ पूछा है स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का. स्टेट गवर्नमेंट सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को दोनों को 50-50% मिलता है, तो आधा हो जाता है परसेंटेज. तो 12% का आधा 6% होगा. सो द फर्स्ट पार्ट दैट इज SGST paid by the dealer will be 6% of that profit 4,000. So zeros to zeros cancel, 6 4 is 24 and 240 will be the tax paid by the dealer to the state government. तो डीलर जो है 240 रुपीज टैक्स दिया स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को. अगर पूछता सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को कितना दिया तो वही अमाउंट देता 240 रुपीज. फर्स्ट वन इज दैट. सेकेंड वन इज द CGST रिसीव्ड, मीन्स पूरा टैक्स सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को कितना मिलता है. तो जितना टैक्स कस्टमर देगा, कस्टमर किस प्राइस पे देगा, जिस प्राइस पे वो खरीदेगा. ओके, तो किस प्राइस पे खरीदेगा, जिस प्राइस पर डीलर बिक्री करेगा. So I will go to find SP for dealer. So that will be 20,000 plus 4,000 because he is taking a profit of 4,000. So he is selling for 24,000. So the customer will be paying a tax of this much on this much. At 12%, then it will be combined for both, but we are asked only for the central government. So I will write here CGST received So I will not be taking 12%, I will be taking 6%. So 6 by 100 into 24,000. Two zeros are cancelled. 1 zero is left. 6 fours are is 24. 2 carried. 6 twos are is 12. And 2 is 14. So 1,440 will be the tax received by the central government altogether. If it is asked how much will the state government get, state government will also get the same. Okay, so you have to differentiate these two things. When it is the tax paid by any of the persons in between, like here it was dealer, it could be shopkeeper, it could be wholesaler or any other person, then you find it on the basis of profit. But if it is told what is the tax received, means the total tax, it will always be on what the customer buys it and the tax on that. Now come to the third, amount at which the consumer bought it. So the consumer has to pay this 24,000 is the price which the dealer is charging, plus he will be paying a tax of 1,440 to the central government as well as to the state government. So if I write here amount at which the consumer buys will be equal to, first of all, 24,000 plus 1,440 to the state government or 1,440 central government. Now we add all these, so I will get 80 here for 40, then 4 year and 4 year again are 8, 1,000, 2,000 and 24,000. So we will be paying altogether 26,880 rupees. Okay, so this part always remember will be the price of the good for the consumer and the tax for both the government which is paid to be added. I hope this is making the sums clearer to you. If you have understood, practice it then only you will remember where what is to be done. Now I have taken a sum which involves discount. What things we have to find basically remains the same, but how to deal with that discount. So the question is like this: a shopkeeper buys a shoe at a discount of 10%, whose MP, that is the mark price, is rupees 2,000. He sells it to a consumer at the mark price. He is getting at a discount, but he is selling at the mark price. You have to find the CGST paid by the shopkeeper, that is the tax liability only for the central government. SGST received, what is the tax received by the state government, and then amount spent by the consumer, means what amount the consumer pays along with the tax. Okay, so let us see the working of it. So MP is rupees 2,000. Now shopkeeper is getting it at 10% discount. So CP for shopkeeper will be equal to 2,000 and minus, because there is a discount of 10%, 10 by 100 into 2,000. So this calculation will give me 200. So shopkeeper is getting it for 1,800. Then it is told he is selling it to the consumer at the mark price. So selling price becomes rupees 2,000. So I will go to find the profit. So profit will be 2,000 minus 1,800, which will be rupees 200. Here this profit can be found in a more easier way by thinking like this. The shopkeeper is getting at a discount, but he is not paying discount. So whatever discount he gets is the profit. So I could have also written profit equals to 10% of 2000 and got it as 200. तो प्रॉफिट इस तरह से भी आसानी से निकलेगा. जो डिस्काउंट है वो डिस्काउंट निकाल लो, क्योंकि वो डिस्काउंट में खरीदा और उसको डिस्काउंट में बिक्री नहीं किया. तो प्रॉफिट could have been found with a more smaller step than this. Now he will be paying a tax based on this, and the tax percentage, okay, for this sum I have not written what is the tax percentage. So let us take the tax percentage, okay, GST percentage here as same 12% I am keeping it. Okay, the GST percentage is 12%. So CGST paid by the shopkeeper. So as I have been telling, he will be paying on the profit he made. So 12% will not be used because it is only the central government. So 6 by 100 into 200. So that will give you rupees 12. So 12 rupees is the tax the central government will get from the shop. Okay. Then it is here SGST receipt. The customer is going to buy it for 2000. So whatever is the tax on that will be the SGST receipt. So for the second part now, SGST receipt. So the customer is getting the shoe for 2000. Only state government, so I will use 6%, 6 by 100 into rupees 2000. So that will give you in calculating as rupees 120. So the state government is getting a tax of 120 on that sale of that shoe. How much would the central government get? It will also get that same thing. So now what the customer pays? Okay, this one, amount spent by the consumer. So amount spent, that is for the consumer. So he will be paying 2000 rupees plus he will be paying 120 for the central government, 120 for the state government. So this is 240. So altogether 2240 will be the money received. So I hope this discount condition is also understood. So remember, discount is found and on that only the calculation is there. Okay, I hope you all have understood this entire topic. If you have understood and it has made your understanding of GST easier, kindly like the video, subscribe it, and also share it with others so more students can take the benefit of this. Thanks for watching the video. Let's meet with another video very soon. Thank you.